Well, just a few minutes ago, we would have seen the Premier of KZN, Sihle Zikalala, announcing a lot of plans to help those affected by the flooding. Hundreds of people have died and many are still missing as once again the sun begins to set. It's going to be a dark, lonely, cold night for many people. No water, no power. Many people also left destitute. But various relief funds and donations are being sourced. Our senior reporter Aviwe Mtila joining us with a bit of an update. Aviwe, hello to you. Some people may have missed the briefing by the Premier, so just information about the rescue efforts. And unfortunately, as we see on screen, that death toll now rising to 443.
Sadly, Gareth, that's the number of people that have been officially accounted for in the fatalities that have happened since the floods started here in KwaZulu-Natal some 6 days ago. It's been touted as the worst, one of the worst disasters, in fact, surpassing that 1987 disaster that happened here. And of course, various interventions needed to tackle this disaster. We are told that the official number of missing people stand at 63 at this stage. And in fact, just 6 more bodies were recovered just this morning as those rescue efforts continue. In fact, the Premier, Sihle Zikalala, mentioned that at the core and at the focus of the last 2 days was those rescue missions, as we see a number of teams even on the ground this current moment trying to grapple with those deaths and trying to recover those bodies. K9 units on the ground, as of course there are other areas. We can't take these numbers as the official numbers, as there are those areas currently that can't be accessed. So it's quite difficult to tally the numbers, as still there's a lot of people that need to be accounted for. But let's take a listen to the Premier, Sihle Zikalala, in detailing just the extent of the deaths at this stage.
The current inclement weather has slowed our assessment and rescue operations on the ground. But we are once again back in the full swing. As of this morning, KwaZulu-Natal received 38 call-outs, and on the scenes that were attended, 6 bodies were recovered. We stand at approximately 63 persons missing or unaccounted for. The death toll now stands at 443. We wish to convey our heartfelt condolences and sympathy to the people and the families of one of our search and rescue team member who was busy doing search and rescue at Helen Dam. He experienced difficult breathing and was airlifted to the Mediclinic Hospital and unfortunately passed away. May his soul rest in peace.
Right, the Premier also saying, Aviwe, that they're going to need more assistance from government.
All hands on deck is what the Premier is asking here for. In fact, mentioning that he wants government to consider what's happening in KwaZulu-Natal officially as a national state of disaster. Sihle Zikalala saying that, in fact, the President was here himself just days ago. There have been a couple of cabinet ministers from Human Settlements, from the Transport Minister, Beki Cele, we understand, Senzo Mkhunu, the Minister of Water and Sanitation, on the ground assessing the damage and just the extent of the devastation in the province. So he mentions that now he needs more relief in terms of more hands on desk to speedily tackle the situation that the province is grappling with, and in fact mentioning that they've got assistance from a number of other provinces such as Cape Town with their fire search and rescue units. The province of Limpopo is still going to bring in reinforcements, we understand, from tonight. The Free State mentioned as one of those provinces that have given hands, saying that they're expecting many more provinces to come and assist KwaZulu-Natal in their dire situation. So the Premier there mentioning that he wants government to consider what's happening in KwaZulu-Natal as an official national state of disaster. Let's take a listen to that.
The need identified are enormous. Billions will be required to repair, rebuild the province from this catastrophe. It is against this background that at a meeting this morning, the provincial government resolved to ask the national government to consider a review and perhaps investigate whether this disaster should not be declared as a national disaster. We say this with humility and understanding that our President and ministers have been the first on the ground with us, and in surveying the damage they have witnessed, the level of required response. We remain grateful for the speed with which the disaster was declared, and we can assure the nation that we are doing our part to ensure that we cushion the people from the worst conditions they've been subjected to.
We've also been hearing reports, Aviwe, as well over the past few days, particularly in the eThekwini area, of vandalism. The Premier coming out as well, saying that any kind of criminality, especially at a time like this, during this tragedy, is not going to be tolerated.
More so the criminality when it comes to the government officials and them eyeing the public purse. We do understand, of course, relief funds will be coming in. We heard from Human Settlements, for example, 1 billion rand has been targeted to assist just those that have been affected by the devastation here. We heard from the Transport Minister that some 5.7 billion rand is needed in order to cripple and tackle the infrastructure woes of the province. We don't have a figure as yet from Water and Sanitation in terms of how devastated the infrastructure is or how much it will cost, in fact, to tackle the infrastructure woes, but we do know the damage is quite extensive, hence people still scrambling for water. So emergency funds will be pumped into the province, and of course there are those fears from many citizens in terms of what we've seen previously when it comes to tenders and comrades eyeing the public purse. In fact, there's a meme, Gareth, that's going around where this announcement was made that there will be money given to the province, and just underneath that meme there are hyenas suggesting that there are people already eyeing that money. So it's one of those concerns that have been actually addressed in the week that we've seen here in terms of the money that will be coming in. And once more, we had to be reassured by the Premier that all protocol will be adhered to when it comes to the tendering process, and even the amounts that needs to be tendered for won't be bloated and will be the adequate amounts, and people won't be taking money that are meant for the poor. Just once more, as the briefing was continuing here, let's take a listen to that.
The South African Police Services have also deployed a contingent of personnel to ensure safety and apprehend a criminal element that may attempt to use the tragedy to pursue criminal activities. We wish to discourage people to get involved in any criminal activity, especially at a time when the focus must be on saving lives and rebuilding our beautiful province.
Yeah, it's going to be an issue of trust once again, Aviwe. Many people concerned. That meme you're talking about, I'm sure most people have seen it. The reason off the back of that meme is what we saw during the state capture issue as well, and then also the July riots of last year. Many citizens asking how are these billions and billions of rands going to be managed effectively and ensure it's not stolen and not going to where it's meant to be. Aviwe Mtila, thank you very much indeed. Off the back of the breaking news, you can see on your screen as well, KZN Premier Sihle Zikalala announcing the official death toll has now risen to 443. 63 people are still missing as well.